Yeah, Danny DeVito was shit in the role, to be honest. And to tell you the truth, whenever I see the Penguin in Batman Returns on screen, it actually physically makes me cringe. You mean Danny DeVito gives a great performance of a very complex character, and the actor actually makes you feel sympathy for a character who tries to kill all of Gotham City's children. The Gothic tone just doesn't work in this film. I didn't pay to see The Nightmare Before Christmas starring Batman. I paid to see a Batman film. This film is just too Tim Burton-like. Not a fan whatsoever. What, you don't like the Gothic tone? You mean the tone which actually separates this film from bog standard comic book films by actually giving it a unique feel which no other comic book film actually gives? This film was supposed to be made for children. I don't like this film because children can't watch it. Batman should be child friendly. The first Batman film was suitable for children. Batman Returns isn't suitable for children. So how the hell do you explain that? How can parents take their kids to see a film like this? So wait, you're saying that parents who took their kid to see a 15 rated film weren't happy that it weren't suitable for children? Well, of course it weren't going to be suitable for children. Just have a look at the imagery of the posters of the trailers. This film was not made for kids, and if that's basically the parents' fault, if they took their kid to see a film which is rated 15. Can we just agree that Michelle Pfeiffer was really good in the role of Catwoman? Yeah, I can agree that Michelle Pfeiffer is pretty good as Catwoman. Best performance in the role. What's up guys, Tommy Bowie here from Movie Rewind, and today we will be reviewing Batman Returns. So without further ado, let's get into it. So in terms of character development, this film mainly focuses on the villains, and the development done for the Penguin and Catwoman is really strong. You really understand their characters and what their motives are. The Penguin is basically a traumatized child. He has a lot of resentment towards humanity because he was abandoned by his parents, because he was born a little differently, as he puts it. So you can understand where he is coming from and exactly how his motives and the pure hatred he feels. You can really understand how that happened and how he became the creature he is. Catwoman has a lot of development done to her in this film. She's a very complex and layered character. They kind of go down that she is a villain. However, there is the potential there for her to be an anti-hero, which I really enjoyed. It wasn't just black and white. She weren't just 100% villain. There was a bit of depth there. Probably the main character which doesn't get a lot of development is actually Batman. Batman, if you look at the screen time, is not in this film an awful lot compared to other Batman films. And honestly, I don't really think Batman gets much of a story here. I don't think he's developed a lot as a character. I don't know a lot more about this Batman after Batman Returns, which I didn't know in the first Batman film, which is always a bad sign. He doesn't get a lot of development. So I'm going to give the character development a 5 out of 10, because while the villains get plenty of development, the main character just doesn't get a lot. As for the performances, I believe that some of the performances in this film are incredibly underrated. Danny DeVito as the Penguin is perfect casting, and he gives a very twisted performance in this film, which works with the tone and style, the more gothic universe which this is set in. The Penguin works really well, and I can honestly not understand why so many people hate his performance and why he was nominated for a Razzie for this role, because I think he's just perfect. He just embodies a very twisted version of the Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, that is perfect casting. I don't think anyone that's played Catwoman has actually gone above her performance, because she's just brilliant in the role. She is the standout performance. As for other castings, of course, we see Michael Gough and Pat Hingle return from their roles as Alfred and Commissioner Gordon. They do good jobs with what they are given. Christopher Walken basically plays Christopher Walken. I enjoy him in this film. Does he have a lot of actual stuff to do? I don't think so. However, he does give a good performance. And Michael Keaton, as I've previously stated, for what he is given in this film, he does do a good role. He is still a really strong Batman, if not the best Batman. However, it's just unfortunate that he doesn't get loads of stuff to work with here. I think Michael Keaton is just a bit underused in this film. So in terms of the performances, I'm going to give them a 9 out of 10 because they're all really cast strongly in their roles. As for the effects, this film uses a good blend of CGI and practical effects, which I always enjoy. I think it works really well. And to be honest, the majority of effects in this film, I think still hold up pretty well. The standout effect, I would say, is the makeup effects done on the penguin. It looks really good. They still hold up really well, and it looks very creepy and just fits the tone they were going for this film. So the effects are going to get a 10 out of 10 because I can't really fault the effects in this film. They still hold up really well. So in terms of story and writing, I was actually surprised rewatching this film how well paced this film actually is. The time flies by when you're watching this film, which is always a good thing because it means the viewer is being kept invested throughout. This film is one of the few comic book films which actually deals with multiple villains very well. Each villain gets the right amount of screen time, and in terms of uniting the villains, this film does that well as well. At one point, Penguin and Catwoman team up, so I think that works really well. The finale of this film, I think, is one of the strongest for any Batman film because I think it just works really well. First, he's fighting the Penguin and then he's fighting Catwoman. I think that's just brilliant. I love this finale. Does it get a bit silly with penguins running around with missiles on their backs? Yes, that is a little strange. However, in terms of the tone and style they were going for, it kind of works because you can just imagine that happening in this universe. And a couple of minutes before that, Penguin was going to drown all of Gotham City's children. So this film is not afraid to get dark. It's one of the darker Batman films, and I think it works really well. So I'm going to give the story and writing a 7 out of 10 because I think it's well paced and it keeps the viewer invested. So for this film's special recognition, I've got to talk about the style of this film because obviously Batman Returns has a lot more characteristics of a Tim Burton film than the original Batman did, and that's because they gave Tim Burton free reign to do whatever the hell he wanted in this film. And to be honest, I think the style works because Batman Returns is probably one of the most unique Batman films. Is it darker? Yes, it is darker. And I understand, I mean, I weren't alive at the time, but apparently parents were upset because their kids got scared. This film's rated 15, so maybe you shouldn't have been taking your kid to see a 15 film. And I think that just in terms of the style, I like the darker tone. The Gothic nature works really well in this film. It's one of the most unique Batman films. It doesn't really follow the formula of previous Batman films or later Batman films. And I think it's a very underrated Batman film for the uniqueness alone. So this special recognition is going to get a 9 out of 10 because I think people are wrong about this film. I think it's hugely underrated and the style works very well. So in conclusion, Batman Returns is probably one of the most unique Batman films. The Gothic style works really well and the plot is well paced. However, it is the performances which make this film what it is, as they are all fantastic. And that is why Batman Returns gets a very well deserved 40 out of 50, which gives it a grade 2 ranking. Honestly, when I started reviewing this film, I thought I was going to give it a grade 4, maybe even grade 5 ranking. However, as I started thinking about it, this film is a lot better than I remember it being. And to be honest, I think this film is very underrated. I think people are too harsh on this film. It's a very unique film and I think it deserves a strong rating. So thanks for watching, guys. I really do hope that you enjoyed my Batman Returns movie review. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe in order to receive great and maybe even improved quality content in the future. And I will see you in another one. See ya!